Are you getting tired of chicken breast all the time, but think that steak and potatoes are out of reach while you're on a weight loss journey? Au contraire, my friend, I have the perfect solution for you here. This is a recipe I found online for a Crockpot steak San Marino. I made a few changes, but we'll go over them as we move along. So if you want steak and potatoes on the menu again, stick around because I'm going to show you how to do this coming up next. Hello and welcome to my kitchen. My name is Roy. I'm a home cook and amateur baker, and I'm here on this channel sharing recipes that have helped me to lose over 125 pounds, whether those recipes are mine or someone else's. Or if I've never tried it before, like today. This is a recipe I found online. I was looking for some Crockpot meals because I figured a lot of people in the summer, maybe you're going out for a day trip, you want to get something started so when you come home you have dinner ready. And I found a few recipes and I left it up to Paul which one he wanted to try first. And he chose this Crockpot steak San Marino. I don't know where the name comes from. Maybe they live in a place called San Marino, whoever came up with this. It was from Taste of Home, but there was a little blurb there from a pastor's wife, so I'm assuming this may be her recipe, and maybe she lives in San Marino. I don't know, but I am changing it up a little bit, partly to get the bites, points, and calories down a little, but also because I didn't feel like there was enough veggie in this Crockpot dish to really make it satisfying. So I have changed that, and I will link directly to their recipe down below on their website. Since it's not mine, I'm not putting it on my blog, but I will also list down below the changes that I make, and you can do it whichever way you want. But first things first, let's go over my ingredients. Here I have 32 ounces of potato that I've cubed up. That is my addition. There was nothing in there about potatoes. What they had you do was serve it up with some brown rice, 3 cups, so each person would have a half a cup, which is fine. But I wanted it to be easy. I wanted it to just all be in the crock pot and I didn't have to deal with anything more. So I am adding potato in the place of the rice. Here I have 6 carrots that I have cut up into basically bite-sized pieces. They just had you do 2 carrots and just slice them. I usually do at the top end where it's a little thinner, I make my slices a little wider. And down at the bottom where they're a little thicker, I make them a little thinner so that this one will cook about the same time. This one won't get mushy while this one's still not cooked. So that's what I prefer. And I did do 6 carrots where they suggested 2. I just didn't think that was going to be enough because this is going to make 6 servings. 2 carrots among 6 people? I don't think so. Here I have 3 ribs of celery that have been sliced. Now again, I upped that. They only used 1 in their recipe. I thought it needed a little bit more, so I have 3 stalks there. Here I have 1.5 pounds of eye of round. Now in the recipe, they say beef top round steak. I tried finding it at Aldi. This is where I got the meat. And they didn't have it, but they had this eye of round, which actually works out better because it's lower in bites and points. So I definitely saved a few bites there, which is why I didn't mind adding the potatoes. Now this is a little leaner than the top round steak would be, so it may cook a little differently. They also had you slice it into 6 slices, and this was already sliced into 3 slices. So I just cut each of those slices in half, and that is about 4 ounces right there. So that'll make things easier. I'm hoping it doesn't break apart too much. I don't think it will, but we'll see. As I said, I haven't done this before. And oddly enough, when I was first considering doing a YouTube channel, I was going to do a channel called Never Have I Ever Made. And that would be new recipes every single time, things I've never made before. I would try them on camera. And I guess I'm taking a little bit of that into myself recently, because last week's was one I hadn't made before, and this week I'm doing the same thing. Here I have 1 cup of tomato sauce. That is plain tomato sauce, no sugar added, nothing, just the one in the can. It's not like pasta sauce, which has things added to it. This is just tomato. You could use crushed tomatoes as well, but this is just 1 cup. Here I have a 1/4 cup of flour, and I will see as we go along if I need to up or down that amount. Considering that I now have potatoes, they are going to release some of their starches into the liquid in the crock pot. So it may thicken up a little bit more than I want because I'm adding the flour, but we will see. I don't think it will, but who knows. Here I have 1 tablespoon of minced garlic. That's about 3 cloves. They suggested 2, but we love garlic around here, so I upped that a little bit. I have here 1 teaspoon of Italian seasoning and 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Or as Trisha Yearwood says in her cooking show, "What's this here sauce?" That's a little easier to say for me. Even before the jaw issues that I'm having, I had trouble with that word anyways, as I'm sure many of you do. Anyway, I'm getting off track. They had recommended a 1/2 teaspoon, and I didn't think that was quite enough, so I upped it to a teaspoon. Here I have 1 bay leaf, 1/2 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. All right, so those are all of the ingredients. You know the deal. I'm going to shuffle a few things around, and we will get started. Okay, so first things first, I want you to combine the flour, salt, and pepper. And I'm going to whisk that together, just using a little fork. So you just want to make sure that that salt and pepper is distributed. And then they want you to dredge these steak pieces. And dredging just means you're kind of like putting it in there, getting it covered in the flour, and hopefully not sending flour flying all over like I just did. But you're just going to coat each of these pieces all over and set it back on the plate. So let me get these done and I'll be back. All right, so in their recipe, they have you put the steak in the bottom first. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put the potatoes in the bottom first. And if you'd noticed, I did have water in here. That's not part of the recipe. That was just because I had to prep these ahead of time and I didn't want them turning brown. So I had put them in water. Now I've drained them. So I'm going to put the potatoes on the bottom along with the carrots and celery for 2 reasons. I want the potatoes closer to the heat to make sure that they cook through. And while the other stuff is cooking, the steaks, I want that to be dripping down onto the potatoes and giving them some flavor. So that's why these are going in first, followed by the carrots, celery, and then I'm going to lay the beef on top. And they did recommend a 4-quart crock pot for this. This is like a 6, I believe. And it's already getting fairly full, but I think it'll be fine just as it is. Okay, so I'm going to move this aside for a second. I'm going to bring in the tomato sauce. What they want you to do is just add in the Worcestershire, the garlic, Italian seasoning, and just mix that together. What I'm also going to do is add in the remaining flour, salt, and pepper mixture, because I didn't use it all on the steak, so I think it needs to go in here somewhere. So I'm going to add it in here and just get that all mixed in. So that way we have our thickener, because I don't think the potatoes will do enough without some sort of thickener. And I don't think what came off onto the steaks is going to be sufficient. So I'm going to take that, whisk that in. I can just throw the bay leaf on top of these steaks because there's no point in mixing it in here. Just mix that all together. And then I'm going to pour that all over the top here and scrape out our bowl. And I'm just going to spread that around a bit so it seeps down into the crevices between the steaks. Now I'm going to cover this, and they recommend cooking it for 7 to 9 hours on low. I don't have that kind of time, so I'm going to do it on high for 3 to 4 hours, and we'll see. I'll check it at 3, see where it's going. In particular, the potatoes and carrots, make sure they are cooked through. But now it's all up to time and temperature, so I'll see you in a few hours and we'll see how this came out. All right, it's been 3.5 hours. I did temp the meat and I did check to see if the potatoes and carrots were done, and everything seems to be finished. So I'm going to remove it from the crock pot so you can see what it looks like. And the bits of steak look really good. I'm going to take this bay leaf out and get that out of the way. You don't want that to stay in your food. But I'm just going to lay these all out on this platter. And I was afraid that the steak might break apart more than it is. So I guess it's doing pretty well holding itself together. Okay, so there's all the steak. Now I'm going to take out the veggies and we can see how those look. And then I'm going to take the sauce and just pour that over the meat. It smells really good, so I can't wait to try this. Okay, and there you have it. The steak San Marino in the crock pot. Can't wait to give this a try. As I said, I've not made it before, and I also made it differently than they did. I may, if this comes out well enough, I may just end up writing up my own version for my blog. But for right now, it is just a link down there for the original and then my changes that I've made. But it smells good, so I have my fingers crossed that it's going to taste the same. And one thing I did want to mention is I could have used a crock pot liner, but I just felt like spraying it a little bit and not worrying with the liner. But I'm going to give you the bites, points, calories, and macros for both the original version and my version that I've done here. Now this does serve 6, so I'm doing it as 6 servings for both the original version and for my version. Now for the original version, without the rice, which I believe would have been about 3 bites or points for the amount that you would have gotten. But without the rice on theirs, it's going to be 5 Better Balanced bites or Old Blue points. I'm on the Healthy Better Balanced plan, equivalent to the old WW Blue plan, which is somewhere around their current plan. And if you are following calories, the calories for 1 serving of theirs would be 270. And if you are following macros, the fat would be 10.4 grams. Saturated fat would be 3.9 grams. Protein would be 36 grams. Carbs would be 8.4 grams. Again, this is without the rice they suggested. The fiber would be 1.4 grams. And sugars would be 2.2 grams for 1/6 of the original. Now my version is a little bit better and you still get a starch. With the potatoes, this is only going to be 6 bites or blue points. Without the potatoes, it would be down to 3. So I only used 3 bites worth of potatoes to make this a more substantial meal. Now, if you were following calories, the calories for 1/6 of my version would be 347. And if you are following macros, the fat would be 5.4 grams. Saturated fat would be 1.9 grams. Protein would be 38.4 grams. Carbs would be 38.5 grams. And again, that's because we now have potatoes added into the dish. Fiber would be 4.7 grams. And sugars would be 4.5 grams for 1/6 of it as I did it here. Now, the more I think about it, the more I will end up putting my version onto the blog, especially if I make any more changes than what I've already made. But I will let you know right here how we liked it. And if we didn't, I will probably throw in a little clip of me explaining what I would do differently. So now you know whether we liked it or not. Now, if you enjoyed this video and this recipe, I'd appreciate you doing the usual: like, subscribe, comment, share, and hit that notification bell for the next time I upload any sort of video. And as I said, this will be linked down below in the description box to the original, and the changes that I have made will be listed just above that. I will probably end up writing up my version for the blog at some point, and I'll later insert that down below as well once I get that written up. Also down there you will find links to my Amazon storefront, my Built Bar rewards, Fetch rewards, And my social media, if you want to follow me over there, I have my Instagram and 3 Facebook groups that I'm part of. So go check out the description box for all sorts of information. All right, so I think it's time to serve up a hearty dinner, and I hope you will soon be doing the same. So until next time, bye.